after relation of the parotid gland, now the next topic is the what are the structures in the parotid gland. If you go from the superficial to the deep, it is the nerve, then it is the vein, and this is the artery. Structures are present in the parotid gland. The nerve, it is the facial nerve. This facial nerve comes out from the stylomastoid foramen and through the posteromedial upper part surface of the parotid gland enters into the parotid gland. This is the most superficial structures. In the gland, it divided into two trunks. The upper trunk, that is the temporofacial trunk, and the lower, it is the cervicofacial trunk. Now, this upper trunk divided into the two branches, that is the temporal branch and the zygomatic branch. While this cervicofacial trunk, lower trunk, divided into the buccal, upper buccal and the lower buccal branch, that is the marginal mandibular nerve, and the last is in the cervical branch. So, this facial nerve inside the parotid gland ultimately divided into the 5 branches, and these 5 branches emerge from the deep to the anterior border of the parotid gland, and this gives appearance of the goose feet appearance, and this such type of appearance, it is known as the pes anserinus. Now, deep to the nerve, it is the vein. This vein is the retromandibular vein present inside the parotid gland. This retromandibular vein is formed by the union of the superficial temporal vein by the union of the maxillary vein. This is the maxillary vein. These two veins unite in the parotid gland deep to the nerve to form the retromandibular vein. Near the apex, this retromandibular vein is divided into the anterior and the posterior division. This is the anterior division and this is the posterior division, which comes out through the apex of the parotid gland that we have discussed. Now, this anterior division of this retromandibular vein unites with the facial vein, and they form the common facial vein, and this drains into the internal jugular vein. Now the posterior division of this retromandibular vein unites with the posterior auricular vein. These two divisions unite to form the external jugular vein, and this external jugular vein ultimately drains into the subclavian vein. So, these are the veins present inside the parotid gland. Now the artery. The artery, it is the external carotid artery, which is the terminal branch of the common carotid artery, which enters the parotid gland through the lower part of the posteromedial surface. It gives the 3 branches. The first, it is the posterior auricular artery, which is a branch of this external carotid artery, which emerges from the gland deep to the posterior border. This is the posterior border. Deep to the posterior border, this artery emerges and runs behind the auricle. Now, behind the neck of the temporomandibular joint, behind the neck of the mandible, this external carotid artery divides into the 2 terminal branches. One is the maxillary artery, and the second, it is the superficial temporal artery. This superficial temporal artery, we have discussed, emerges through the base or the superior surface of the parotid gland, while this maxillary artery emerges through the inner lip of the anteromedial surface, and This superficial temporal artery gives a branch, that is the transverse facial artery, which emerges deep to the anterior border of the parotid gland. So now this parotid gland is divided into large superficial part and the small deep part. This is the large superficial part, and it is the deep. It is deep to the ramus of the mandible. It is the deep part of the parotid gland, and these two parts are connected by the isthmus. That is the isthmus. And through this isthmus, there is a passage provided. It is the nerve, facial nerve, runs through this isthmus, and along with this, it is the retromandibular vein. These two structures, nerve and the vein, are present around this isthmus, around this, between these two parts, superficial part and the deep part, and on the horizontal section it gives an S-shaped appearance, that is the known as the polar stud. At the parotid surgery, it is the facial nerve. It is an important nerve that supply the muscles of the facial expression. So, to avoid the injury of this facial nerve is the first priority during the parotid surgery. And we have to remember that these structures are passes through this plane, and this plane is the faciovenous plane. To remove this superficial part, this is the cleavage line. This is the cleavage line to save the facial nerve in case of the benign tumor of this parotid gland. Parotid duct. This parotid duct, also known as the Stenson's duct. This is about 5 cm in the length, and its diameter lumen is about 3 mm. This parotid duct, in this diagram, it emerges from the anterior border of the parotid gland between the zygomatic arch and the angle of the mouth. This parotid duct initially runs on the masseter muscles. Then, at the anterior margin of the masseter, it bends at about 90 degrees, and it pierces these three structures from superficial to deep. That is the buccal pad of fat, buccopharyngeal fascia. This fascia covers the muscle that is known as the buccinator muscles. These three structures are pierced by this parotid duct. Then it makes the second bend and runs between the buccinator muscles and the mucous membrane of the oral cavity for about 1 to 2 centimeters. Then ultimately it goes to the third bend and pierces this mucosa and opens as a parotid papilla opposite the crown of the second molar tooth. Upper second molar tooth, this parotid duct is open. Now, this parotid duct has the three bending: first, second and the third bending. These bendings acts as a valve mechanism, which prevents the inflation of the duct at the time of the overflow of the air from the mouth. Or it is the blowing, forcefully blowing of the mouth.